back with some more Arkham Knights. I'm presuming this episode's gonna be a little longer, 2 hours maybe, don't know, depending on just what I have to do today. I don't think I'm gonna have much to fucking do, so, yeah, here's, the second episode of my 100% or 240. I don't know if I'm going to do 240% on a live stream. I'm definitely going to do it on this save. However, oh man, we got a long way to go. Bitch. Please. And it's not going to evolve that much. I'm just going to say that. If you want to get this full ending, you're just going to have to do what I do. I'm going to be playing this with my friend Jake, who is not here at the moment. He's probably going to get on later, so... yeah, he's playing just the story of the game. This I'm pretty sure. I don't think he's gonna do any side missions. Yeah, just to flex there. I am friends with the Arkham channel. So yeah, the Arkham YouTuber. I don't know if anyone watches this channel knows who that is, but yeah. In case you do, yes, I am PlayStation friends with him. And I know it's really him too, so that's cool. It's not just someone making up a channel. Besides, if it was a faker, I doubt they would actually dwarf me in points. Yeah, I don't actually have that many Gotham's Greatest points. So yeah, but I'm still doing a lot better than most of these people. So yeah. I'm only 9th on the leaderboard. I would love to one day get to 1st. That'd be great if I could. I don't play this game very often, and whenever I do, it's typically a treat. So, anyways, I am not going to play with this skin today. I'm actually going to go with the Christian Bale skin. And I'm going to go to WB Play, so I just unlock these skins. I'm thinking I'm going to go for a new skin every episode. And eventually, oh shit, I just showed my email, didn't I? Fuck. It's no big deal. I didn't give you my password or anything, so you can't hack me. But, yeah, I think I'm gonna go through a new skin every episode. I think there's about 30 skins in the main game, so... in the game in general, I should say, because... in the main game, there's like 4, and you can get a handful of them for free. Like, let me show you the downloadable content. We have plenty of time to stall. So you get these are free. I think that's free if I'm correct. That's free. I think either the skin is free or the Batmobile's free. That one, I don't. This is free. The Batmovie Superman. That's free. I think that costs money. That's free. That's free. That's free. So the last 3 DLCs are free. If I'm correct, I believe all this stuff these all dropped on the same day. Season of Infamy, Fighter Pack, Challenge 5, Rocksteady Batmobile, Arkham Batmobile, and the Bale skin. I'm pretty sure all dropped the same day, if I'm correct. Yeah, Rocksteady doesn't just drop DLCs gradually. Fun fact, they actually drop literally fucking 5 different things on the same day most of the time. So if it gets released in the same month, chances are it's going to come out the same day. I remember I got this game right around the end of its life cycle. I got it for Christmas in 2015 with my entire PS4. Honestly, this was the reason I wanted a new gen console, or modern gen console, which was next gen at the time, was to play Arkham Knight. And I don't regret it, because it's an amazing game. Sure, some may say it's not nearly as good as City, which I can completely understand. I still think it's a really good finale. And you know what? I will make you see that by the end of this episode, by the end of the series. You will see how good of a finale this is. And actually, I feel like the ending will be less anticlimactic after you beat Scarecrow. As, again, that's not the real ending. That's just the kind of the end of those missions. So, because technically the full story is the entire game, and you have to beat the game to get the entire ending, which is kind of a pain in the ass, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And personally, if that means doing the entire thing again, I'm good with it. Since I can delete my other 2 saves anyway, so I'll have 100% save. It'll probably be 120 to be honest, and then I'll have because the Season of Infamy DLC, which you do have to do, by the way, to get the gold batsuit. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, the gold batsuit is DLC. Thank God you don't have to pay for all of the DLCs to get it, which I thought you did actually originally. I thought it was either you get just the main game done, but I didn't have 140%, so that, or 240, so I was kind of suspicious on that. And I was thinking, well, maybe you gotta finish all the DLCs, because I had all of them. Then I watched a video on it, and it said you actually have to do everything in New Game Plus, and I kind of got pissed, because I thought that meant Riddler trophies, but no, it doesn't. So yeah, here's the Bale Batsuit. Came out with the Season of Infamy. I know for a fact it did, because I remember back when that DLC came out, people were playing the entire Season of Infamy DLC with this suit. Honestly, the suit looks a lot like the Arkham Knight suit anyway, to where they weren't going to add it originally. They were just going to add the tumbler, and that kind of made a lot of people angry, so they ended up just adding the suit later on, I think as a thank you. Because, it kind of reminds me of Spider-Man PS4 on how they added the Raimi suit as a free thank you to the players. So it's the same thing here, except you have to download it. You can't just play through the game with it here. The Spider-Man DLCs, all you gotta do is download the update and you get the skins for free. And there was like 5, 6 free skins, which is pretty nuts. It was pretty much in another DLC pack in its own, or like 2 more, or something like that. That's how many DLC skins there were. Actually, the suit looks really good in the game, not gonna lie, except Bruce looks a little skinny. It's kind of a problem here. He looks a little goofy, but at the same time, it actually looks really nice. And it's, overall, it's a good looking Bale Batman skin. As none of the Arkham games could probably pull this off before now, so. As far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty sure there's only 1 Riddler trophy, and that's a little far away from here, so I'm gonna grab that after this mission.
Into their comms. I need to know what they're planning. Anything else? There's a crew of Ace Chemicals workers left on site. They'll be able to help us track down Scarecrow and locate his bomb. Each worker will be carrying a unique ID chip. If I can access their personnel records, I'll be able to track them. There's a security terminal in a booth near your location. Try there. There were 5 soldiers, each one armed and dangerous. Before I can access that terminal, I'll need to take them down. if Oracle was right. Oracle, I've got the ID code. If I reach a high vantage point, I can use the bat scanner to locate the workers.
Okay, I've marked the tallest structure in the area on your map. Try not to fall.
This is perfect. I can release the bat scanner and search for the workers.
I know some are gonna bring up how he's talking without his mouth open, but he's supposed to be thinking that. He's not supposed to be saying it. I know. For first timers that are watching this, if there are any, that's why. So I know that's gonna happen a lot. So just get ready for it. He does it a lot. Alright, I think let's do over here first. Easier missions. I wish the Batmobile was just a vehicle. I wish it wasn't like something where they took full advantage of, because it gets really annoying. Sure, it's not as bad as some people say, but overall, like, the combat aspects of this game are actually really good. Like, it's not like the best game ever or anything, but it's really fun. Like, that's what all that matters. Some may argue on how good the story is, but if we're talking just gameplay all around, it's probably the best gameplay out of any Arkham game. I swear to God, even I honestly think the gameplay is way better than City. Discluding the Batmobile, but even the Batmobile's a fun gadget to use when you're not using it, you know, against tanks. Which, you know, contrary to popular belief, it's really not 60% of the game. Sure, there's a lot of Batmobile shit you use, but tank fights is not something you do that often in this game. I know there's gonna be one up here. And there is a lot of them, but from the game's about 10-hour runtime, it's I think it's like 6 to 10 hours for first timers, if I'm correct. Game. It's not like the best thing ever or anything, but it's long.
Oracle, they've killed one of the workers.
Damn it. We've got to stop them.
Gates open. Time to bring in the car.
And don't worry, by the way, I will add thumbnails to this series once I can. Just because I think thumbnails are going to help with views on gaming videos. I guess this is more just to document this for... I'm not really doing that for you guys as much as I'm doing it for me, so... I don't really give a shit if the series doesn't get any views or anything like that, but... After all, this really isn't a gaming channel anymore, is it? So, I can kind of do whatever I want, because I think most of the people that would watch gaming videos are gone. Other than friends. And they don't always tune in, so... And I don't live stream, you know, the most trendy and hip games, so... Which was never my intention. I was just gonna live stream games I like, and a lot of those games that I like are not popular anymore, if ever. Which again, I have no issue with what's popular. I really never cared. I don't give a shit of what's popular and what's not popular, so... Sure, I wish that these games were still popular. I think that would be really cool. I mean, technically they are. Again, the fan base would argue. Because the fan base is still active, and there's still people that play these games as much as I do. Yearly. Because they're really good games. And it's definitely a good series to grow up on. Actually, I'll keep this dialogue because this is actually a really good scene.
Please. Leave him out of this.
Always defending the weak and the helpless. What I like about you. Predictable. That's why we're gonna win. We know your rule before you. We know how you think.
Do you know what I'm thinking right now?
Who the hell is this guy?
No. I'm just trying to decide which one of you I'm going to take out first.
Same page here. I fully
But yeah, I love the controls in this game and how swift and clean they are.
Don't know the half of it, Batman. He was. Stay calm and tell me what you know.
This is one of the first scenes I remember seeing to this game.
He's produced.
Have you found Scarecrow?
Not yet. It's worse than I thought.
How much worse can it be?
He's building a bomb big enough to cover the entire East Coast in fear toxins. Take your men and get out of here. Head to GCPD and...
I'll get my...
Okay, so I maybe should save up for the fear multi-takedown abilities. Those you really don't need till later on in the game. I am intending on probably should get the Batclaw disarm. What I'm gonna go for as it's really good to have that early on in the game because whenever you do get into stealth situations, there is one later on in this mission. I gotta say that thinking about it,
if I don't stop Scarecrow's bomb,
really, you can get through a lot of stealth encounters if you're good at the game. You can get through them with your fists if you know what you're doing. Which, typically that's what I did a lot of the last playthrough. I really didn't do most stealth. I really just kind of went for it and kind of just snuck around the building and just made sure they were all apart and just fought them like that. Maybe hit one of them, made sure they were kind of on the ground so I could attack the other guy, stuff like that. I'll really go into it once we get into our, I think, first stealth encounter, if I'm correct. Which is later. I think, yeah, it's this first. Which the stealth is really good in these games, I just gotta say. Again, I think this game gets it way better than any other game. Again, if we're talking gameplay, this game fucking destroys the others. That's an utter fact. That's an other, like, a utterly true fact. Like, I feel like you couldn't even compare these games, if you ask me. If we're talking gameplay, I'm not talking story or anything like that. Because if we're talking story, then you could even say Asylum is better. Personally, I disagree with that statement, but I know there's a lot of people that are going to say Asylum is a way better game. Story-wise. Again, I disagree, but I'd understand why people would say Asylum is a better game. But for people that play this game for the first time, they all like it. Specifically people that have never played Arkham before and have nothing to compare it to. Like a lot of my friends that have played this game, they actually thought it was really good. And thought it was one of the best Batman, or one of the best superhero games they've played in a long time. So, which I would agree with. That's definitely a true statement. It's a really good game all around. trying to think what I'm supposed to do next. I don't think I need the crane yet, but I might as well ready it up, just so I don't have to do this shit later. It's a pain in the ass. Oh! I know what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, see, here's a tank fight, but you're gonna have a lot of these, but don't think it's gonna be the entire game, because it's definitely not. Actually, wait, I forgot I can do that. I forgot I already have that upgrade, because typically I don't get that upgrade till much later in the game if I ever get it, and already, so that helps.
That's 2 dead workers now. I should have stopped this.
Yeah, that's true. The Deathstroke boss fight really should not have been a tank battle.
No.
That's a fact right there. I will agree with you on that statement.
He only wants to help.
Especially because Origins had came out 2 years prior, and Origins had that awesome Deathstroke boss fight.
Stay out of it. But he could.
If Robin can't save those people, the fallout will be every bit as dangerous as Scarecrow's bomb.
If they really had to shoehorn a tank battle in there, they could have at least added that Deathstroke boss fight at the end. All they had to do was reskin the first one. And I think people would actually be satisfied with that. Especially because my Arkham Origins disc is broken, so it'd be a good way to replay that. And actually, I think it would be a good reason for people that have no desire to initially do those missions to play them, would be the Deathstroke boss fight. But, you know, I guarantee it's already some peoples that have never played the game. And you play it and you're like, oh, it looks like that really isn't Deathstroke, huh? It's just a tank.
We always do, right?
And it did make sense how Batman just broke Deathstroke right when he jumped out of his tank. He just uppercutted him. If I'm correct. Been a while since I've done that mission, and just beat him in one punch, which would be completely impossible. So the fact is, it's just, who's coming up with this? I doubt they were marketing it towards kids, because this game's rated M, even though it probably shouldn't have been. It still is, and I doubt they're actually trying to market it towards kids. But I mean, the tank battles would honestly be the only logical that'd honestly be the only logical reason. Yeah, I agree.
This is as high as the elevator will go.
You're completely right on that statement. I don't know why they would even think of that, other than him running the militia, which I just think was their idea of shoehorning Deathstroke in. And again, it wasn't a bad idea to have Deathstroke come back, I keep in mind. Especially because it makes sense to conclude his story arc like that. Having you last see him in the beginning of Batman's career, and then the final time you see him would be at the end. But at the same time, what they ended up doing was they just made Deathstroke pretty much a faceless militia commander, but they decided, hey, you know, people like Deathstroke, let's just shoehorn him into this game, give him some type of tank boss fight, and, or reskin the Arkham Knight's Cloudburst boss fight, which actually wasn't that bad, and call it a day. And I actually wonder if that employee that came up with that idea got promoted that day, because clearly they thought it was a good idea, because they ended up adding it to the game, and it's actually one of the final boss fights that you're probably gonna do. So I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, I wouldn't promote that guy, but I bet he got promoted. I bet he got a raise, because clearly Rocksteady thought that was a good decision. Or WB Montreal, whatever. Exactly! I mean, but the thing is, though, it's true, because clearly that's what they were thinking, was that this would be a good idea to make a tank battle. And honestly, I think they were trying to give this game a T rating, because clearly no one's gonna want to do that shit other than kids. Actually, no, I take that back, because whenever I first played this game, I was still a kid, and I didn't want to play that.
It's okay. You're safe.
So I don't get it.
I've rescued the second worker. I'm coming to you. What about Scarecrow? He's in the center.
On the Arkham Legacy rumors, well, if they're true, I hope it's not a reboot like they say it is. I honestly hope it's a Battle for the Cal game. That's my dream right there, is a Battle for the Cal game. However, at the same time, I actually think that it's probably either it is a reboot, and it's not going to be anything like the Arkham series. It may have similar controls, but I actually think it's going to be completely different. I don't think it's even going to be called Batman Arkham Legacy, to be honest. I think, at most, I actually think it's just going to be called Batman. Or Batman Court of Owls or something like that. Because most likely the Court of Owls are in the game, because I don't know why they wouldn't be. So, my best guess would probably be, it is a reboot, and chances are they're not even going to use the title Arkham. That's my guess, if it's real. Which, I do think they are working on some type of Batman game, I just don't know if it's gonna get made. Yeah, exactly. Like, they're always bringing up how the trailer's gonna come up at pretty much every event that is imaginable, so you're completely right on that statement. And I just heard a rumor that they're gonna put it on both modern gen and next gen, which is, I mean, I'm good with that, because I won't have to rush to get the PS5 just for Arkham Legacy, or whatever the hell they're gonna call it. I think they should make it a Battle for the Cal game. I actually think that would be the best logical step in the story. And they could even give it a character select wheel, like GTA 5. That's where I would get that idea. Even different side missions for Jason, Tim, and Dick. I don't know if they'll do, I doubt they would ever do it, but if you'd ask me, that would be the best option for next Batman game. But I think they're probably gonna go for Bruce, and they're probably gonna have Roger Craig Smith reprise his role as Batman, but probably a different Batman. I wouldn't even be surprised if Joker is in this game, but and is voiced by Troy Baker. I just think that Joker will be a side mission, if anything. Or he'll have a mission in the story, but Joker's definitely going to be in this next game. I don't know why they wouldn't include him. Not saying he should be the main villain or anything, but because they've done him to death. They've also finished the whole story arc of Batman and the Joker. They really don't need to continue it, because they finished pretty much the entire Arkham trilogy, plus Arkham Origins is a great prequel to that trilogy, so the next logical step would be to kind of reboot it, but not really. You want to basically make Joker's impact less big. You still want him to be instated as his archenemy, but you don't want him to be the main villain of the game again, because they've done it pretty much every time. Even Arkham Knight, he's practically the main villain. I heard somewhere they're going to take a page out of Marvel's playbook and call it DC's Batman. Also, the character select wheel. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like that, because that's exactly what I would call it if it's a reboot. You don't want to call it Batman Arkham something if it has nothing to do with the rest of the series. I do hope they bring back the controls, though, if it's a reboot, and I just hope that it has some of the same writers that wrote Arkham Knight or Arkham Asylum or Arkham Origins. Obviously, I don't know if Paul Dini would come back, but if they would, we pretty much already have a guaranteed good story. So, but ideally, I would say, to be honest, I wouldn't mind seeing Ra's al Ghul get the main villain spotlight, because he really got snubbed in both games he was in. And also, he's a really important Batman villain that would make a lot of sense. And also, if they wanted to set up Damian, they very well could. If they would probably, if he was in it, Talia would probably be in it. And honestly, that's pretty cool if they could bring in Damian. Yeah, he would be a really good villain, because they've only made him a side villain every time. Sure, he's technically the main villain of City. He doesn't really get that much screen time. He gets like one mission, and you find out he's in charge of Hugo Strange's whole thing. But they never really go into his motives or anything. They just kind of say, "Oh, he's the guy who did all this," and we're done with it. But if you ask me, he probably should be the main villain. You could even make him work with the Court of Owls if you really wanted to. Because, to be honest, the whole Wonder City thing, that honestly seems more like a Court of Owls thing, if anything. So, I think they could merge the two without making them the same thing. Without making the whole thing ridiculous. In fact, they could even make him the main villain and have the Court of Owls be the sidelines. I do think they should be in the game, though. And if they have to do another serial killer mission, which I know they're going to, they could even add the doll maker, or they could bring back Hush if they really wanted to, because I still think he was wasted. You know, and his finale was just ridiculous. They didn't even give us the trench coat look or anything. They just kind of gave us the like, oh, here's basically Bruce Wayne, but psychopathic, for a pretty good side mission. But it's at the same time, I hadn't read Batman Hush before I played this game, so I didn't know what they were missing out on. But I recently read that book for the first time. And man, they could have done so much with that character. They should have made him the Arkham Knight, honestly. Thinking about it, because he has the motives. He already is matching Bruce's likeness. I guarantee he could match his fighting style. I personally think Hush would have been the best choice for the Arkham Knight, and it would have been kind of unpredictable over Jason. Yeah, they really screwed up on Hush. He had a good Arkham City mission, and his Arkham Knight mission was good too, but they really didn't take advantage of it, of him even being involved in the game, and they were just mostly going off name recognition. It really wasn't Hush as much as it was Thomas Elliot, so because it really wasn't his character or anything. He wasn't mysterious, he was just some character that they used. Even though they were trying to make him look like he was the big threat, and he was actually going to be important into the sequel of the game, and they should have included him in the story, over making him some type of side mission that has no use to the main story. Other than, oh, Lucius is offline, we better go save him. It's like, you know, it makes you think, oh, well, maybe he's working on something. Maybe there's a new gadget. In reality, it's Hush. Should have Hush look like Jason to mess with Bruce. Yes, yes, just like in the comic book. Never mind, make him look like Chameleon. Yes, I think that's a great decision. Especially because Clayface pulled him dressed up like Jason and everything. That would have been a really good choice to the game. Or a better, or I don't know if it is as good, because honestly that would work really well. But a really good idea would be for them to have a fake Arkham Knight reveal, but it feels real, where you keep the same Arkham Knight reveal scene. But then you find out that Scarecrow is using his fear toxin along with Clayface to mimic Jason. And whenever you go up with Jim up to the elevator, you see the Arkham Knight still there, and it turns out that that was Clayface the entire time, and you get ambushed by Clayface and there's a big boss fight. Because this game is really missing out on the boss fights. It really only has a couple of good boss fights in the main game. So that would be another idea I'd have. And then the Arkham Knight, you would find out his identity later as either Hush, or they could do Jason, but if you ask me, Jason should stay dead if they're not going to use him properly. Because Red Hood is one of the best characters DC has to offer, and they wasted him in this game. He really wasn't Red Hood as much as he was Arkham Knight, so why don't you just save Red Hood for his own game? Because it's really, Red Hood is, again, another character that you could use an entire game dedicated towards. Which in a way they already did. And honestly, the whole Arkham Knight thing was more or less just them using Red Hood as their own Arkham Knight, quote unquote. Even though in reality, it's just them trying to pull the whole Red Hood thing again. But everyone knows who Red Hood is. No one knows who the Arkham Knight is, so that's how they can trick you into wondering who this guy is, even though in reality you already know. Because Jason was my biggest guess before this game came out, so, and I was completely right on that statement. I was hoping it was Joker, but at the same time, looking back on it, that was just me being a die-hard fan of the character, and not me actually thinking that would make sense to the story, even though I think it would be a good plot twist. Just, it wouldn't fit the game. If they made Red Hood a more compelling character, I think chances are he would have been more likable and more relatable. But they also just made him save you at the end of the game. They made that completely out of the blue. They never ever brought that up. And if you ask me, what they should have done at the end is it should have been Dick, not Jason. Because Jason had no motives to save Bruce at the end of the game. There was no, like him contradicting himself saying, oh wow, Bruce really never wanted me to get killed by Joker. They never show him think that. The last time you see him, he's pointing a gun at you. And he's really angry at you, so why the hell would we have him save you at the end of the game, other than him saying, oh, he's back to the, he's now on your side again. But they never use him. Yeah, the Arkham Knight, Red Hood was not as good as, say, Injustice 2. And it also, they didn't use him in the story of Injustice 2, but yet, at the same time, he was a better character. Jason had no character arc. It was basically he had a beginning villain character arc, and then he had a hero one out of the blue. He never had a villain. He never had an anti-hero character arc in the middle. That's just how I'm using, by the way. That's not what I mean. He never has a middle of the ground, conflicting ideals to his mind in the game. He just has, I'm gonna go save Bruce randomly for no reason other than it's the right thing to do, even though they never bring up why he does it. Other than that's his father figure. But again, the last second, he's pointing a gun at you before, that's the last time you see him before the end of the game. Yeah, all the intro dialogues, they actually gave him the motive, and those are actually better than than him in this game, by far. I agree on that. Even though I think they made him a little heroic in Injustice 2, if you watch his ladder ending, I still think it was a better character overall, and it actually made more sense for Jason over, say, oh, I'm a bad guy, oh, now I'm a hero for no reason other than, look at me. And then you play his DLC, it feels like he's the same character, except he's a little more calmed down. So I don't get where they're getting that from. If it was Hush, it would make more sense. And also, the Arkham Knight's boss fight should have been more like Deathstroke's over a sniper gunfight. I'm just saying there. Take it, he has a ton of boss fights in this game. After all, I want to say 70% of his boss fights in this game are him. So, I said his boss fights, I mean the entire game. 70% of the boss fights are Jason. Whenever they should have done a Deathstroke style boss fight with basically showing that he is equally matched with you, but you never really learn that. You just think that he knows how you think and he's able to combat you. You never actually know his fighting style, and I find that kind of annoying. Unless you read the comic books, and I don't even think those are canon. Other than Genesis, which is probably the only really good one anyway. Genesis actually was really good, not gonna lie. I don't know if you've read it, but it's a good one. Yeah, he kills a murderer's rapist, Jason in Arkham Knight, has a tank, and blows people up. Exactly. They also never bring up how he's even really working with Scarecrow, unless you listen to the audio tapes, which luckily I just did. However, it's literally just him gunning down two of Scarecrow's guys and then says, hey, I can help you out if you help me kill Batman. It never... Yeah, you're not wrong there. They always got comics with these AAA games to explain their own story arc when they probably should explain it themselves. Like, if you ask me, what they should do is a character like Jason you want to explore in the main game. Then maybe the comics could be Scarecrow setting up everything. I think that would make more sense over, oh, let's explain the main focus of the game. He's not the main villain, obviously, but let's explain the main focus of the video game in one comic book. Which was good, but holy crap, they could have explained that in the main story. With those Joker flashbacks, that totally could have just been a you know, even more of those, because those actually were really good. I don't know if they were thinking there, though. Other than the developers didn't even know what Jason's backstory was, and they had to rely on comic book writers to decide what was good, like what his story was, clearly. I mean, every AAA video game's got it. Shit, I even think there's Fortnite comics out there. I'm pretty sure. I don't know for sure, but if I were to guess, there probably is. On that, I don't know what it could be. I think the most logical option would have to be, yeah, imagine the Fortnite kids reading a local comic shop. Exactly. I knew this kid that, pretty much was a textbook Fortnite kid. And, worst person I've ever met. Seriously. And he went to my school, and pretty much he made my, some of my best friends stop talking to me for real no reason other than he didn't like me. Yeah, needless to say, we found out that that guy wanted my friends to end up, to stay friends with a pedophile online. And they didn't, obviously, since they have common sense, they didn't want to do that. He also lied about being in the army. It's a mess. It's a real big mess of a story. And this just makes me realize, man, this guy's worse than he let on. It's sad, or he's just really stupid. It's one of those. Yeah, I know, right? Whenever I tell people, they don't typically believe it, but it's true. It's a true story. I wasn't involved with most of it, but they kind of made me involved with it. And me and my friend had to confront him over it. I guess one of us actually had his phone number somehow. Oh, you're not wrong on that statement. They are. They also don't even know what money is, because whenever you I remember I've talked to some of them, and they personally don't even know how expensive those skins are. Because you should see my face whenever I see how expensive those skins are in the game. Because I've been playing it with them. Sure, it's not my thing, but I can tolerate it. And if that's the only way I can play games with my friends, I'll do it. But, dear God, those skins are expensive. Just to buy a Deadpool skin, you have to pay like $20. And I just want to play as Domino, and you gotta pay like 20 bucks for that, and like, no way I'm gonna pay that for a skin. When, you know, specifically like in this game, they're like $2, $2-3. So, and you can buy skin packs. Brody, there are $20 skins in that game, and still, that doesn't mean $10 is necessarily a good deal. In this video game that I'm currently playing, you can buy an entire DLC story pack, which will give you like 3 hours of content for, good content. For it, plus a skin for $10.
Before it killed him, Joker sent his infected blood out to all the hospitals in the state.
I know, we tracked it all down.
We missed some.
How?
Hospital errors. Transfusions that went unrecorded. 5 people were affected. Untreated. The blood's gestated too long. It's altering them. They're becoming...
Yeah, tell me about it. That story is pretty crazy. Yep, that's Spaghetti Lad. There's my boy, right there. He is my partner in crime. Well, I wouldn't say that, but my sidekick, I'd say. Yeah, but Deadpool is only 10, and you get more skins from the Battle Pass. That's sure. Oh, that's my my friend. I don't know his actual name, but his name is Two Dogs and a Dingo. He's one of my viewers that comes on here a lot. I don't know him personally, but I guess he recognizes you from the comments. Don't bother him, he's really nice. You don't need to worry about it. That's funny. That's really funny, Brady. That's really funny. Something like that. It's not cheap to get every skin. Just because your game is free doesn't mean you need to make your skins overpriced. Brody, that doesn't mean shit. I know, Brody, that's the thing. But just you don't know how many more people would buy skins if they were cheaper. Yeah, Brody, you need to realize this. They have so many they have so many story packs. You don't know how much they're gonna make off Save the World alone. In $3 skins, there's probably only maybe a few million people that buy skins over the entire player base. But someone like me, who's probably never going to buy a $10 skin, will buy a $3 skin. If they drop, say, the Joker for $5, they're gonna get a lot of people like me to purchase it. A lot more people, actually. The kids will buy it, and they'll get more of their parents to buy the skin. Plus, people like me who would never purchase a $10 skin will buy it. And will buy all of the Batman skins, actually. Yeah, if you ask me, that makes a lot of sense. The Season Pass, or Battle Pass, whatever the hell they call it, that... Yeah, sure, there is a $5 skin for every season. But I'm talking, there's even more than that. And... Plus, say you buy, say, the Battle Pass for $20, you get every single skin that season for free. I think that, honestly, is a lot more fair. Yeah, sure, the starter pack, you get V-Bucks, but that doesn't... That's still a lot of money. That's still like $10. If you think about it, if you sell a whole season pass for $20, you get as many skins as they put out. And they'll make a lot of money on that battle pass.
Alfred, analyze the militia forces, troop deployments, equipment.
A lot of money. It's not just like, you know, a couple $1 million. They'll probably make as much money as that you think they could. They're more likely to purchase a $20 season pass with as many skins as they possibly could get over that. And again, this game right here, the season pass is like $20, $30, and you get like 30 skins out of it, something like that. Plus, you even get like 3 characters that you can play in challenge packs. And plus, you get story packs that, sure, those story DLCs are like 5 minutes, they're still better. Yeah, that Avengers game is gonna be kind of scary. I agree. At first I was really excited for it, but now, really going into detail on it, I honestly think my hype is starting to wane, and I almost regret pre-ordering it. But I hope it's gonna be good. But I really hope that the game will be less than 3 hours. Because, unfortunately, I bought Resident Evil 3 at launch, and that game took me 3 hours to finish. And
What's wrong, Jim?
yeah, needless to say, I was kind of angry.
It's Barbara.
Yeah, Brody, I'll let you know if it's worth getting once I get my copy. I'll let you know if like the story is long and worth the time. The online mode looks like it could be fun. I'm just worried that they're gonna work too much on the online and they're not gonna actually give a crap about the Alright, Brody. I'm actually worried that they're not going to work that hard on the story, and they're actually more focusing on online, like Rockstar does a lot with their games. Post-launch, most of the time. I don't think they've done a post-launch story DLC since Red Dead? Is it Red Dead or is it LA Noire? I don't remember. I think it was Red Dead. And that was 10 years ago. Yeah, Ronin would be really cool. I think Ronin should get his own game, to be honest. They would never do it, but that would be really neat. Hawkeye could be fun to play as with all the arrow options and stuff. I think some people wouldn't realize how fun Hawkeye could be to play as. Exactly. You know, we need a hashtag make a Ronin video game. That would be awesome. Sure, he was in Endgame for like 10 seconds. He was still one of the better parts of that movie. Take it, that movie, it's both underrated and overrated at the same time, because some people don't realize how good that movie is. Because it's still a really good movie looking back on it. It's just that time travel plot hole makes some people realize that, oh, this movie isn't that good. In reality, it's still a great movie. It's just the time travel kind of angers people.
That's it. That's the last of them. We're clear.
It's too dangerous, Jim.
Yeah, however, when you first see it, it's like, holy crap, this is the greatest movie of all time, I need to see it again. At least that's how I was. And then after like 3 times watching it, you kind of realize, oh, this movie isn't as good as I remember. I mean, did they even watch Back to the Future before they made that movie? Because clearly they didn't, watching that movie and how they handled time travel.
Before you head to the clock tower, I thought you may like to hear the analysis of the ARKHAM Knight's forces you requested.
What have you got, Alfred? Thank you.
I've set the Bat computer to analyze militia presence across the 3 islands and provide you with a real-time representation
Okay, cool, Brody.
of occupation strength in each cell. As you can see, Miagani Island is heavily occupied, with a substantial drone ground force controlling the roads.
Yeah, we were just talking about how we think Ronin from Avengers Endgame should get his own video game.
Away from there for the time being. The remaining drone forces on Bleak Island have been redeployed,
Or comics in general.
so expect significant resistance.
Thanks, Alfred. I'm heading there now.
Oh, really? Nice. I only watched it twice, but I probably would have watched it that many times if I could have. I've probably seen that movie 6 or so times since it came out in theaters about a year ago.
Jim, clock tower's surrounded. I'll clear the area. Let you know when it's safe to head inside.
Yeah, well, I think they probably would make a comic towards it. I just hope at least they do a DLC, but thinking about it, the opportunities they could do for a video game or DLC are really high, because it could be Arkham-esque. Or a lot like that Deadpool game that came out a couple years back. Maybe just a little bit more, better controls and stuff. Yeah. Well, it's a tank, Brody.
He's using high-caliber rounds. Titanium tipped, maybe tungsten carbide. Whatever it is, it's ripping us to shreds. Stop him! I'm flanking him!
Yeah, I know, right? That is kind of dumb. I don't know why they think people are gonna buy their streaming service just for, you know, comic books. They need to add some, you know, more media on there. I mean, it looks cool and all, but at the same time, I feel like you wouldn't get that much out of it. And you don't even get physical comic books out of it. And personally, I would much rather pick up a book and read it. Oh, the car dodging. Yeah, tanks are fun. Even though the tank fights are probably a little overused in this game. Whenever you're chasing after thugs, though, on the street and terrorizing them, it's pretty fun, though. You kind of have to deal with the tank stuff before you can actually do all the good stuff in this game. Yeah, that's annoying, because you don't get the same feel out of it. It's like, it's not nearly as fun. You're not collecting anything out of it. You're not getting anything to... Oh, we're talking about comic books here, on how you can buy comic books digitally, but they're like the same price as comic books physically, except you're really not getting anything out of it. I mean, I can go on DeviantArt or whatever, and I can read fan-made comic books on there for free. So, I mean, sure, they're definitely not as well written and stuff, but you can read similar stuff that might have more or just about the same amount of work. Yeah, or it could, yeah, I'm not gonna lie there. Because again, you get more out of a physical copy than you do digital. Especially if you, say, go to GameStop and pre-order, It's not as bad as you think, Brody. It's sure, I mean, there's a lot of scary stuff on there, but if you go on there, it's not nearly as bad as you think. Sure, again, that stuff is on there, but dear God, it's not nearly as bad as people say. But take it, I'm sometimes one of those people that bring that stuff up, so that might just be another reason. Oh God! That, I don't want to see that. I didn't know that existed. Oh God, that, Brody, that sounds bad, but that doesn't at all scare me as much as Drake and Josh Kawaii stuff. That's terrifying. Brody, I think I've seen that insert random name here hedgehog before. It's pretty creepy. Yes, Brody, Sonic OCs are terrifying. That's a fact. That is a fact. Oh God! Why, Brody? Why? Why? Oh wait, it's Sonic Forces, that's why. I think I have that game, to be honest. I think, wasn't it free for Plus or something like that? Yeah, that's true. OCs can be good or bad depending on who made them. Sometimes they can actually make sense to the story. Other times, well, really not. Like, Five Nights at Freddy's OCs are probably a happy medium, I'd say. So that fandom is horrible. And I'm sad to say I was once part of that.
Jim's on his way up. I can't do that now.
Yeah. Yep, you're right, that. It reminds me of one of the OCs I would create back in the day, where it'd basically just be a alternate version of a character everybody knows.
Brain's done this to get to me.
Yeah, fair. I was not one of the toxic Five Nights at Freddy's fans. I just let it take over my life for like 4 years. Oh, that makes sense, Brody. I'm not surprised by that. Fortnite fandom, though, is easily the worst fandom in history.
She's my family. My daughter. She's all I've got. I never should have trusted you. Never.
Brody, I don't blame it for you haunting me. Haunting you, sorry.
I'll do this on my own.
It's pretty scary.
Stay away from
Again, it doesn't beat all of the Five Nights at Freddy's ships that exist, but it's bad. Sorry, I got a lot of text on here because, you know, reasons. Bro, did ventriloquists ever show up in these games? They kept hinting. Yeah, you're completely right on that. Him and the Great White Shark are the two that never were ever featured, but are in, like, mentioned in pretty much every game they've made. Oh, yep. Well, I'm bringing up all the Bonnie X Chica shit. That got annoying.
They covered their tracks by disabling the clock tower security cameras. If I hacked the invisible CCTVs,
Alright, Rudy, I'm sorry we're giving you nightmares here. Pull up an Easter egg here. The other thing that kind of makes me angry is that characters that are in pretty much all of Rocksteady's games, and even in every game they've made, don't appear in Arkham Knight, such as this one character. Yeah, Killer Moth should have showed up. Batgirl DLC, he would have been a great choice. Alright, see ya. There's Zaz right there. Again, speaking of characters that should have showed up in Arkham Knight, he really didn't show up here. He was mentioned through a riddle, but he was never featured. And he was a really important part of Arkham Knight too. Or Arkham Asylum.
that's the Arkham Knight. He's got Barbara. Need to confirm which car he took her in. They probably took her in one of those vehicles. I need to confirm there. That's the vehicle they took Barbara away in.
Yes, riddles.
Amatech D60s. I can program the Batmobile to track their unique tread pattern. It'll lead me right to them.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna put myself through all those riddles again. Alright, I'm gonna do Wonderland.
I'm on my way. Don't let anyone speak to him until I get there.
Riddles are some of the most overdone stuff in this game. Yeah, that's how my Arkham Knight was for years. Was almost complete. I just finished it in September. I want to get this informant. I was surprised I did it, but I gave it time during the weekend. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna finish this game, because I was working on it for 5 years, and I just pulled it off recently, so I'm gonna put myself through all the torture again, and I'm just gonna do it.
Tell me what you know. All right, I'll go. Good.
I wouldn't even say it's worth completing for Nightfall. Because you can watch it on YouTube. Sure, it's really satisfying, though, to see it on your screen. But, you know, you can always pretend that you did it and just look it up on YouTube and add it to your TV. Alright, so... what do I say about the figure? It's one of their best figures they've done in a while, I would say. It might be my favorite, but again, that's a little biased because he's my favorite comic book character. But it's one of their best figures they've done in a while. Both the Arkham figures are really good, but if you had to pick one, I would say Joker's the best pick. The posability's really good on it. It looks really nice. I actually have it in my hand right now. It's a really good figure to animate with, too. So he was definitely a great choice to do a stop-motion series about. But, yeah, he's one of their better figures. He's probably only really tied up with the Batman Who Laughs. Yeah, it does. It's a really nice figure. Especially because I don't own, the, old Arkham Asylum Joker figure they made back a couple of years ago. So it's definitely satisfying to have. And he's very, very posable. Again, he's up there with the Batman Who Laughs and Hellbat, but those figures are like impossible to find. This one you can actually find in stores. Like every Walmart I've been to that has an electronics collectibles section, I typically find it. So he's harder to find than Batman, but he's still there. Yeah, the Joker's definitely a very sturdy figure. He doesn't fall apart too easily when I used it. And also, whenever parts do come off on the figure, you can always pop it back on. It never really... I've had times where I thought I broke it, but it really doesn't break. And it's definitely a lot easier to use in a stop-motion animation. Part of me even thinks that they wanted him to be able to do all these crazy poses, because you can really put him in any pose imaginable if you just put your mind to it. As long as the figure looks like it's capable of doing it, then you can probably do it. But yeah, he's really easy to animate with. I haven't had any struggles with that figure specifically. And they all come with stands too, so if anything, I use the stands if I can't get him to stand up. Which I know whenever I do the review of it, inevitably, probably before I make the first episode, I'll probably put the review out for that figure. I'll probably bring up how I may not like the stands on those figures, however, really, they're actually quite useful. Even though I feel like if they got rid of the stands, they probably could add more accessories towards the figures. And some of them, like the McFarlane Spawn, which I really need to review. That figure you really do not need a stand for at all. Yeah, yeah, I was actually just I was just pulled those Suicide Squad figures out, actually. I had thoughts on doing a video. Yeah, Spawn's a really cool character. He's one of my favorite non-Marvel or DC characters. I'm really a big fan of Todd McFarlane's artwork and stuff. Venom is one of my favorite Marvel characters, so I like Spawn a lot. But my thoughts on Mattel losing the DC license, I'm fine with it for the most part, because a lot of the later figures they put out in that line weren't that great. Specifically the Batman Beyond figure, I just thought that figure was such a disappointment. But I think McFarlane's doing a really good job on the line, even though they probably could have done a better job with some of the figures, specifically the main Batman they put out from Detective Comics 1000. However, at the same time, I feel like they've put out more good than more bad, so I don't think they've done a terrible job or anything, but part of me wishes that Hasbro would get the license. Mostly because they would scale really good with Legends, at least I would hope. I don't know, a lot of their lines they've made in like 5-inch scale, so I don't know, because those Ghostbusters figures are like 5 inches tall. Black Series are also out of scale with Legends, so I don't entirely know where they're coming from there, but hopefully they would make them the same scale. I wouldn't even mind if they crossed the lines together, but I don't know if the companies would allow that. But if they were allowed to make Batman, you know, say Batman versus Iron Man or whatever in a 2-pack, I think that would be really cool. And now with the whole AT&T thing and how they might, DC might fall eventually, I'm actually hoping that maybe eventually Disney might just buy out DC, and hopefully then Marvel and DC can cross over. But that's never going to happen, no matter how much I want it to. I think the fans mostly want it to happen, but I completely doubt we're ever going to see that. It may eventually happen, but it's going to be years from now. No, I didn't. No, I gotta look at that. I've never played those games myself, but they seem like I would like them. Definitely looks like an intriguing series that I probably should. I'm worried that if I do get hooked on it, I'm worried I'm going to play it too much and do everything I possibly could do in those games, because I recently got into the Resident Evil series, and whenever I've picked up one of those games, I do not put them down until I've done literally everything possible in those games, other than get all the trophies and stuff. For example, I think I've played Resident Evil 2 like 8 times now. Yeah, I hope so, but since Warner Brothers got bought out by AT&T, that was probably the biggest problem there. I really hope, though, eventually, one day, AT&T will just give up the license and just hand it to Disney, or sell it off to Disney or something, because dear God, I would love a Marvel vs. DC film. I mean, it'd probably be like 4 hours, and it'd probably be the most expensive movie ever made, but that would be really cool to see. I'm gonna doubt we'd ever see it happen, but oh man, that'd be really cool. Yeah, that's true. And the crazy thing is, a lot of their characters have better story arcs than most Marvel characters do. But then Marvel does a better job handling their characters. And I feel like they make a lot of their characters a lot more interesting and likable. When DC mostly has Batman and his characters, but they still have some hidden gems and stuff, but mostly Batman's characters are the standouts. And then it's like, I mean, who honestly knows anything about, you know, Wonder Woman's rogues gallery? I mean, you might know 2 or 3 of her villains, but you won't know really all of them. When Batman, a lot of people know most of his villains.
You think that's his Dark Knight? I bet this whole city. Fire the blow. Try and disarm the explosives, and you'll face even more of my drones. You see, I'm waiting.
I mean, Iron Man may be one of the most popular superheroes in the world right now, but I mean, does really anyone know about his rogues gallery? I don't think so. Because, you know, really the only ones I can think of are like Whiplash, the Mandarin, Ironmonger, but those are the ones that were in the movies. Yeah, I agree.
The Arkham Knight's trail leads to Miyagani Island.
I think the biggest problem that currently they've done is
The militia must have hardwired
I think they've put Harley Quinn too much in the spotlight. And I could probably make a video all in itself on how I believe they ruined the character of Harley Quinn. They've been trying to turn her into their own version of Deadpool, and they're failing miserably. When originally she was just the Joker's sidekick. And sure, I know there's some people out there that think that was a brilliant decision, but if you ask me, that was the worst decision they've ever made. And still, Marvel doesn't try shoving Deadpool into your face 24/7. Oh yeah, Crimson Dynamo, Madam Mask, yeah, alright, yeah. I wasn't thinking of those characters. Yeah, so there's definitely a lot more characters than I was thinking of, because those are definitely well-known characters right there.
The station is crawling with the Arkham Knight's militia. I need to clear them out and find the access point they're using to hack into the transport network.
I feel like if they were to cross over both universes, though, chances are, I think the stories would be a lot more unique. For example, it might no longer be Batman and Superman crossovers, or Iron Man and Captain America crossovers, as it much might be Batman and Iron Man, or... Yeah, I haven't seen it. I thought it kind of looked a little ridiculous for me. I just couldn't bite the bullet on the DC service. It's like 20, I don't know how much it costs. I think it's like $20 or something like that for mostly just DC content. And no one in my household's gonna use it other than me, so I think it'd be kind of a waste if I were to get it. Besides, HBO Max is pretty much the same thing. I mean, they have Doom Patrol and stuff, which is the only one I was really considering watching. But, yeah, I don't like how that show breaks the fourth wall all the time. Yeah, exactly. They don't even make you feel bad for her in those shows or anything. I mean, Birds of Prey was alright, but it felt like she was more upset about breaking up with the Joker, if anything. In Birds of Prey, they didn't make the Joker look abusive in that movie. Yeah, I agree. It'd be worth getting if they had more content on there. And personally, if they merged HBO Max and that DC service together, I actually think it'd be more worth my time. But I'm probably only saying that because I get HBO Max for free with my cable subscription, so it's not a problem with me. HBO Max is another streaming service I have a lot of issues with. It's overpriced and it doesn't have that much content on it. I mean, you can watch Joker again on there, but at the same time, it's like I got that movie taped on cable from HBO. So it's not like I need to own that movie or anything, because I practically already do. And if they take it off the streaming service, it's gone, but I can keep it on DVR forever, so it's not like it's a problem or anything. Besides, I've already seen that movie like 4 times or whatever, so I really don't need to see it again. Yeah, exactly. I don't get how Batman works with her in the comics. Because she's still the same person.
With the Arkham Knight's men taken care of, I can use their uplink terminal to lower the bridges.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I've seen some clips from that show, but it definitely doesn't make me wanna, you know, like, buy the DC service for it. Isn't it on, like, Sci-Fi now or whatever? I don't know. Again, I haven't seen a full episode or anything, but people uploaded clips to it from YouTube, so that's kind of how I've seen it. Yeah, because that's what I was hearing, was it was on the Sci-Fi channel or something. To be honest, I actually, if we're gonna talk some of my favorite aspects to this game, honestly, I really like how Harley Quinn is in this game. Because if she were to lose the Joker, I doubt she would move on like that. Because she was madly in love with that guy. I just watched clips from YouTube. Yeah. I don't like using piracy either, but I often resort to using it a lot of times whenever it's just a movie that looks god-awful. Like that. Like I was gonna pirate Terminator Dark Fate off a website because I just didn't want to pay to see that. I never watched it because the website wouldn't work. And I still can't get it on my PS4 or anything, so there's still no... I still haven't seen it, and I really don't want to pay for that movie.
Riddler has Captain.
Yeah, I agree on that statement, because if they were gonna have her just move on over this guy... Yeah, I bet I did dodge a bullet on that one. Terminator Dark Fate looked horrible. I gotta say. I don't know if I'd wanna shoot myself after watching that movie. I was just telling myself, saying like, well, I mean, if I wasn't gonna pay for it, I probably wouldn't want to hate myself after watching it, so... That's another thing. I'm gonna play as Catwoman because she's more fun to play as than Bats. Here. It just makes me go, you know, groan at the sight of these movies. Yeah. Yep. Well, I would say Ghostbusters 2016, but I still didn't feel like I hated the previous Ghostbusters movies after watching that. So, I don't know what to think about that movie, but when I saw trailers about it, I just thought it seemed like a average, crappy action movie that was gonna have a lot of feminist material in it, and I was like, I really don't feel like sitting through feminist propaganda. Yeah, doesn't it John Connor get gunned down in the opening scene of that movie or something like that? I never watched it, but the fact is, if that actually happens in the movie, which I'm pretty sure that's what happens, why would they do that? Why? Ah, dear God. I don't know what they would think about that, though. Shit. That's sad. No, I currently don't, but just tell me. I'm curious to see how bad it is. How do you do this again? Oh shit, I forgot I don't have it unlocked. Yeah, what happens in that movie?
Chinatown. Fine, Enigma. I'll play your games and I'll win. Selena's life depends on it.
Oh God. Oh. So they basically just took a big dump on Terminator 1 and 2. Oh, man. Like, that isn't sexist. That's my question. Seriously, because they're acting like men are sexist these days. What about women? Like, look at this shit. That isn't sexist? I am honestly offended by that. I don't know why they would do that, other than feminist propaganda. Yeah. Just because sexism mostly happens to women doesn't mean it doesn't happen to men. And I honestly think nowadays it's mostly men that get the pushback. I mean, I have no problem with equal rights and all that shit, but if they're really gonna rub this in my face, it almost feels like, so I fought for you for no reason. I don't get the thank you that I deserve for supporting you guys. Oh yeah, tell me about it. If there's people still in the chat, I would tell them to write F. I know if Brody was still in the chat, I know he would. I don't think he would know what that meant, but he'd probably still write F in chat, because he's a meme master. Yeah, I don't get it. No, it's just, I don't know. Even, I'm not a sequel trilogy hater or anything, but it just makes the question, so they're basically doing the same thing to Star Wars as well, not just everything else. Star Wars gets the feminist treatment just as much, if not more. I think that's the sad thing. How do I do this? But it's just sad on what they've done to all these classic franchises. No, it isn't. I mean, yeah, Terminator has shown that. Hell, even the Clone Wars did a great job with that. But it's just what they do to these series is ridiculous. Yeah, especially because these are some of the best movies ever made. And they're just gonna pull a men bad situation. Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna get into the whole Last Jedi thing, because I mean, it's been done to death. But they threw away Luke Skywalker to pretty much make him look like a piece of shit. When that did not fit his character. I don't think Last Jedi was a horrible movie or anything. Again, I think the franchises that piss me off the most are your Terminators and your Ghostbusters and stuff that never needed this in the first place. Star Wars, I don't think they've done it nearly as bad as everything else, but it's still not good or anything like that. Yep. I feel your pain there. That's the one female character that doesn't get enough credit is Ahsoka. Because she's one of the best female characters Disney has ever put out. Well, really, it wasn't Disney, though. It was Lucasfilm. But... and she doesn't get enough credit. And they never even put her in live action or anything. They kind of just chose to... they're like, alright, we'll finish the Clone Wars because it'll make us money, but... we're not going to include her in any movies or anything, because why would we? I am kind of excited for them to put her in Mandalorian Season 2, but... I'm still scared about that. Oh shit. It's the other side then. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking about that. I think they've been more pushing pressure on Resistance, and yet clearly you can tell that show got canceled after one season. I think it got renewed for a second season though. Yeah. Tell me about it. I think the only, like, pretty good sequel trilogy related media was, The Force Awakens. I actually think that movie was pretty good. But I think everything post Force Awakens just gets really terrible. Alright, it's probably this one. Because the Clone Wars is really good. Rebels is pretty good. And then you get to Resistance. I think I've only seen an episode or two of that show, but it just, it sucks. Especially compared to everything else. It's just like, you're telling me that this is supposed to be a sequel to the other shows that were really good?
Now, Catwoman, celebrate your survival by telling Batman all about the exciting...
I don't get it. And the animation is way worse too in Resistance too.
Now, Kitty.
Why, Batman, there's a big mysterious green door.
Yeah. That's a great point. Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens wasn't nearly as good as the other games. Yeah, Resistance, that show sucks. It looks like they downgraded the animation too. It looks like they weren't even allowed to have the same budget as Clone Wars and Rebels. It's sad because I guarantee there are some people out there that have never seen Rebels or Clone Wars and think this is the only, like, decent Star Wars animated show that's out there, which is sad. Yeah. I never read that. I had thoughts on reading it, but a lot of those books and stuff, they don't really ever tie into the movies or anything. Even the comic books hardly do. I mean, the Snoke comic book they released last year? That wasn't bad, but I only read the first issue of it because I still didn't feel like, oh my god, I need to read the next issue after I read that. I was just like, oh nice, here's kind of an explanation on who Snoke is and stuff. Yeah, that's sad, because I bet it was good. Because I bet she could have been a good character too. It's just, they wasted her. Notice how Disney always wastes the good characters in the Star Wars media recently. Like, I guarantee Ahsoka's gonna be in The Mandalorian Season 2 for, like, an episode. She's not gonna be an important character. Boba Fett's probably gonna get wasted in Mandalorian Season 2. As well. If Rex is in Mandalorian Season 2, and is another character that's just gonna get wasted. Another really good character that's gonna get wasted.
What do you remember about these?
I mean, I'm happy that Mandalorian Season 2, or just Mandalorian in general, is actually gonna be kind of the correct sequel series to Rebels. Even though it's not animated, it seems like that's what it's gonna end up being. Yeah, that'll piss me off if they kill him off again, just to bring him back briefly. Them bringing him back for a season of The Mandalorian better mean that we're gonna keep him around a little longer. I just hope that maybe all of these characters can at least get some type of sequel series.
I'm at the bridge.
Their own live action show, because I think Thrawn is in talks. Yeah, that's true. They waste a lot of reoccurring villains and stuff. If you ask me, I hope all of these characters get some type of show involved with them. Specifically, I would really like a Thrawn TV show, because that's something I heard that was in development. Don't quote me on that or anything, I don't know for sure if it's happening, but I'm pretty sure they said that I watched a video saying that a Thrawn TV show may be in development, so I don't know about that. But if they do it, I could see potential. Obviously, I don't think Disney would do something like that because, you know, it's just we can't focus on a wasted villain character that only appeared in a cartoon show and never actually. Yes, Boba Fett's gonna get crossboned. I agree on that. Crossbones had built up in the Winter Soldier, and they just killed him off in a couple seconds. I mean, Crossbones is supposed to be kind of similar to Bane, to Captain America, when he was just a side villain that was pretty much faceless. They even made him look cool and stuff, and I actually thought going into Civil War he was going to end up being the main villain of the movie. Boy, I was wrong. Zemo isn't a bad villain, don't get me wrong. It's just they really didn't do much with him until the end. I just hope Boba Fett doesn't get wasted, and I hope they make him a good character in this show and develop him better. But I can't tell you. Again, I don't work for Disney, and I have a feeling they're going to end up screwing this season up. Because I doubt that they could actually keep this show how good it currently is. I mean, Clone Wars, I guess they never really screwed up. I mean, season 7 really doesn't get good till the end, if you ask me, but it still doesn't suck or anything. It's still not like, it doesn't compare to Resistance, you know. Oh, yeah, I have a feeling that's really cool. I think Crossbones would be a cool character to cosplay. Yeah, season 7 was like 90% filler. Or not 90, probably like 80% filler. I agree. I really hope they don't just kill off Taskmaster like in the middle of Black Widow. Yeah, again, I'm not complaining about season 7 because again, the finale of that show is really good, and they definitely didn't screw that up.
The door was torn off during the crash. If I can find where it came to rest, I can determine exactly what happened.
However, I partially think that Taskmaster is not the main villain of Black Widow, and I have a feeling that she is gonna just get killed off in the opening scene of the movie or something. Probably not the opening scene, but probably like halfway through the movie they're just gonna get killed. Because you never want to use that good of a character in a movie. Especially because it's always the good Captain America villains too. Yeah, he's a Captain America villain for the most part. I mean, he's more or less an Avengers villain, but I always saw him as a Captain America villain, more or less. However, at the same time, I feel like, well, if you're not going to continue Captain America's movies because his trilogy is over, then you might as well give him to Black Widow, because I think he makes the most sense. But as far as I'm concerned, they should have just saved him for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and maybe went for a Black Widow villain as the main villain of that movie.
Someone took a shot at her. I should analyze the point of impact for ballistic evidence.
Yeah. I couldn't believe Taskmaster is going to actually be a threat in this movie.
The caliber of the weapon is a match for the ARKHAM Knight's size.
other than, you know, a cool villain that they use, you know, for the first 2 acts, and then he gets killed or gunned down by the villain or something like that, and the villain ends up being someone less cool and less likable. And I have a feeling they're going to try to do an Arkham Knight type thing with Taskmaster, where they're gonna pull something stupid with the character, and they're gonna end up. See, yeah, because they made him look weak. I don't know. I thought he was even more wasted in the Spider-Man game, if you ask me, because they made him so easy to fight in that game. Like, it wasn't like it was even like he wasn't at his full potential or anything. No, like, no, they just made him an easy boss fight. He's one of the easiest boss fights in that game. Again, he should be like Deathstroke. He should not be a very easy boss fight in the game. And actually, now thinking about it, people often compare Deathstroke to Deadpool. I personally compare Deathstroke to Taskmaster. They're definitely more similar than Deathstroke and Deadpool. Yeah, that's true. I just hope they eventually use him again and make him harder to fight. That was one of the characters they announced kind of early on, but we really didn't see him until the game launched.
I trust you have not forgotten me, Batman. As you wish.
Alright. Yeah, I agree. Green Arrow and Hawkeye are really getting the shaft these days. Especially because they're really not that bad characters.
I'm impressed, but you have more to learn.
They're definitely underrated.
When you are ready.
Sir, I've captured Azrael's performance.
Good work, Alfred. Run the usual physiological tests.
Then am I to understand you're considering him as your successor?
None of us know what will happen after tonight. I'll be in touch.
So I don't know what they were thinking there. Yeah. I don't know why they left him out of Infinity War.
There are reports of opera music being played in the Kingston district, sir. The killer's calling card.
I'm just hoping that perhaps Taskmaster won't. Yeah, Thunderbolts will be really cool if they make that happen. They'll probably get shafted to Disney Plus. I mean, you can debate on if Suicide Squad was a bad movie or not, but Suicide Squad still did really good box office wise. So I don't know why Disney wouldn't jump on that. As Thunderbolts are pretty much Suicide Squad, but Marvel. So I think that's $1 billion idea right there. But I don't know.
An irregularity on the victim's chest. It appears to be a birthmark, quite distinctive.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's your post-credit scene right there. 100%. I don't know why they wouldn't include him in this movie, because I just feel like it's quite obvious. If they're gonna bring Ross back into this movie, and it feels like this is literally just a Thunderbolt setup movie, I think that's what they're gonna do.
several toes. The site of amputation suggests the removal of non-viable tissue in the treatment of frostbite. Alfred, I've ID'd the victim as Robert.
It's just my hype is waning for this Black Widow movie because it should have came out like a month ago. And now we gotta wait till November, so my hype has kind of died down.
Someone's attacked the fire station in Bristol. I'm going to put out the blaze and find
They...
who's responsible.
Yeah, exactly. I saw that Ronin fan film you made. It was really good. But yeah, I agree, because then you pretty much can't make content out of that. And it kinda sucks.
Power to the fire suppression system has been cut. I need to get it back online to get the blaze under control.
Yeah, Taskmaster would probably be the best choice. I mean, you could always do a prequel type thing, but then at the same time, you couldn't reveal who Taskmaster was because we don't know. Even though I think it's going to be completely obvious, and I just think it's Anthony Masters. I don't think it's anyone special, and I don't even think we were supposed to think it was. But then people started questioning who Taskmaster was because a lot of the people that were watching these trailers don't know anything about Marvel. So that's what they ended up pulling off. Even though Taskmaster was never a character where you go, who is he? He's just a mercenary. So I don't know where they were thinking there. You know, maybe that's what they were gonna do. Maybe they are gonna change up the character and maybe it's a female. I don't know. Which, again, I won't freak out if it is or anything, even though Taskmaster's a man. As long as they make she a good villain, I won't complain. Yeah, tell me about it. It's not, and now they're making him silent, and they're basically just going for a generic villain treatment for Taskmaster, which doesn't fit the character. They just want an excuse to have some type of mystery for the movie just to get people to go see it. When, as far as I'm concerned, I really don't care who Taskmaster is, and I really just want to see him be a good villain. Again, I would probably be questioning it more if they marketed the movie right now, but they're not. They haven't released a trailer or anything. Yeah, that's a good point. See, on that kind of situation, you would pretty much have to wait. If you were gonna bring up Taskmaster, you would have to know more about the character, but we don't know how it's gonna work, so we don't want a fan film to instantly become obsolete due to them not telling you enough about the character. If they just flat out, if they never made it a mystery or anything, and they just flat out said it was a dude, you could actually make it make more sense. But then if you bring it up, having the person call him a him, and, you know, say you call him Anthony Masters in the story, and then it ends up being someone else, then you pretty much, it doesn't make much sense. I mean, I bet there's some way you can go around it, like urban legends and stuff, but I don't know, it's kind of a pain when you realize that you really can't do much until you wait for the movie. They should have just made the movie video on demand, because I think it's gonna get delayed again, so it's not like it's gotten any better out here or anything, so. Oh, holy shit, I've never seen that happen before. I didn't even know that thugs could do that. Huh. I know there's one encounter where you fight the Joker. In the Arkham Knight HQ. I didn't know that actually can happen. Huh. That's kind of creepy. Alright. I'm gonna do one more mission. I'm gonna start Shadow War.
Unfortunate news, sir. Members of the League of Assassins have been spotted on the rooftops of Neargani Island. Well, I presume it's the League, sir. The reporting officer's precise words were, and I quote, crazy ass ninjas.
Thanks, Alfred. I'll investigate.
Lost the Rattler.
Yeah. I'm just thinking that they're gonna make him a very shitty mercenary type villain. That they'll just make it a character everyone knows and loves just to— oh shit! Alright, I wasn't expecting that. They'll just make it a character everyone knows and loves and milk it for what it's worth. I heard people say that it's Hawkeye, and that's one of the dumbest theories I've ever heard.
Oh, it's dead. Few people can kill two.
I mean, if you're talking about maybe the band Steppenwolf, I don't know about the movie character.
Flashing blows from a long distance.
I don't know about the main villain from Justice League,
A dropped sword.
Steppenwolf.
Blood type doesn't match the body I scanned. Same injury pattern as before. Uniform.
I don't know. Maybe Justice League will redeem him as a villain. The Snyder Cut,
Two body. Someone got away.
which I'm pretty nervous about myself.
Whoever got away was injured badly. I should search the other rooftops. Try and pick up her trail.
Because seriously, I gotta say that
Leave me to Samantha.
Steppenwolf was a pretty generic character, and they kind of made him the Thanos villain character when he really never was that. Yeah, that honestly scares me that they did that. Yeah, like I've seen marketing for like a Taskmaster action figure, and I've seen videos of a girl playing with it. So I'm thinking that it's gonna end up being a girl just because they're doing that shit. Or maybe it's just Hasbro going, "Oh, look, we don't know, and we don't want to screw up, so that's what we're gonna do."
Sample I just left. Search for anything.
It's not like I have a problem with that either. It's normal and stuff. It's just, it makes me think, well, is this you saying that Taskmaster is a female, or is this you saying that we don't know and we're just gonna try to be diverse?
Alfred, I'm going to track the trail left by the League Assassins.
I have no doubt you'll find where he's gone.
Because this type of quote-unquote diversity isn't adding to... It isn't diversity, it's just you basically say, it's you misleading us. Because watch, it's gonna be nobody. It's not gonna... It's just gonna be some new character. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's why I haven't came up with a Taskmaster costume or anything. That same. One time I went to a con, and there was literally a dude dressed up as Harley Quinn. Yeah, he didn't even shave or anything. It's fucking hilarious. Dear God. I don't know if it was a joke or I don't know if there was just something up with that guy, but it was funny. My dad was laughing his ass off. So I don't know what to think, but I'm just hoping they don't screw up Taskmaster. I don't mind Taskmaster being female per se if they change him up. Yes, the cosplayers are pretty fucking weird. And it brings up the question, why are you doing this? I get it whenever if it's actually something sensical and it actually isn't someone doing it for either a joke or attention, but if it's someone doing it for one of those things, then I don't know why you're doing it. If you're doing it to show your appreciation for the character, then I have no problem with it. But, dear God, it's... And the thing is, though, that dude that was dressed up as Harley Quinn, it wasn't even convincing. It was this big dude with, like, a beard wearing... It was... If I had a YouTube channel, I would have recorded it. If I had a YouTube channel at the time. And if I had a phone. I was a kid, so I just like, I was like, what the hell? That was before the whole Harley Quinn fad back then. This was probably about a year before that started. So it wasn't even like there were Harley Quinn cosplayers everywhere. And this was before the Deadpool movie even came out, so... It was a long time ago. So there wasn't Deadpool cosplayers everywhere either. It was just like, there was probably maybe one Deadpool and maybe like 2 or 3 Harley Quinns. If anything. Nowadays, it's all Deadpools and Harley Quinns pretty much for the most part. People that don't know anything, that are just wanting something to dress up as, will dress up as them. Oh God. Oh, that's awesome. I wish I would have got to meet him. He seemed like a cool guy. I'm not only a big comic book fan, I'm also a huge fan of Family Guy, so he's one of my favorite characters on that show. So, I don't just like him for the Batman stuff he's done. But that's pretty funny right there. Him and Stan Lee would have been cool to meet. Yeah. That sucks. If he would have been at a convention near me, I probably would have gone to it just to meet him, to be honest. That's I honestly don't even know where these are. Shit.
That tortured creature was once a man. Dr. Kirk Langstrom. There must be a cause.
Yeah, that.
His lab might hold the answer.
I probably. I don't think I even knew who Stan Lee was back then, to be honest. I was a youngin'. So. But yeah, I wish I would have met him, because he seemed like a really cool guy. People often say don't meet your heroes, but I feel like that would be a different case with Stan Lee. He just seemed like a really cool guy and stuff. Oh yeah, that sucks. Yeah, he seemed like and he's another person that seems like they'd be really nice to meet. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that I feel like you wouldn't. I don't think they would actually be the right person to meet. Even though you might think you might get along with them, I hear Jared Leto's a dick in real life. Oh, I'm getting a call. Time to screw around with someone. Hello. Who's this?
Hi, this is John with Helping Hands. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, John. How's it going? I'm Rick.
I just have to let you know that this call is being recorded for quality assurance.
Okay, cool.
And the reason for the call is
Yep.
I just need a quick minute of your time. It won't take very long, okay?
Okay. Hey, I have no problem.
I just have to let you know that this call is being recorded for
Yep, you told me.
assurance. And the reason for the call is we're reaching out to people who recently used one of our partners' medical alert, hearing aid devices, or another quality of life-related product to let them know about a promotion we're running. The good news is one of our partners, a leading lift chair company in America, is running a special 14-day risk-free trial. Just imagine a lazy boy chair, but much better. Body massage. I just need a quick minute of your time. It won't take very long, okay?
Yeah, sir, you can keep talking. I'm just sarcastic. It's completely fine, sir.
You know, I didn't quite catch that. Will you repeat that, please?
I'm just a sarcastic person, sir. You can keep talking.
I just need a quick minute of your time.
Sir, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, not a problem. But I appreciate you taking the time today, and have a wonderful day.
Oh, God. I love spam callers. They're trying to scam me, so I always fuck around with them. I mean, if at least I'm preventing them from scamming others, so at least I'm doing something good. But I just do it because it's a free prank call, pretty much. I always jump on that whenever I get the possible chance. It's just like, oh, here's a spam caller that wants my money. I think they think I'm some like 60-year-old woman or something, because they call, whenever I get spam texts, they always call me Khaleesi or something, even though that's obviously not my name. Or Barbara, that's another one I get. And I always get calls for seniors. I never get, like... It's never like, you know... I'm clearly not a senior, so I don't know why the hell they're going after me. Oh, yeah. Yep, yep. Exactly. Yeah, I always get calls for spam. Like, I always get calls about car insurance and shit. I'm like, I don't own a car, so I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't want to take meds. Yeah. Time does fly, I gotta say. Feels like just yesterday Endgame came out, so I can agree with you on that statement.
That's it. I've created a clean DNA sample. Now all I need to do is make him take his medicine.
Yep. I know, I can hardly believe it. And I feel like it came out like last year. Not gonna lie.
His wife, your parents. What is it about dead relatives that turned you into a giant rodent?
The bat creature's in hiding.
Alright, so that's gonna be the end of the stream, guys. I appreciate everyone that came in and started watching. Definitely a very fun stream to do with you guys. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching.